Good morning. MUSE. Music to my ears. Marble floor. The wake of a lion. Do you wake up like a lion? Do you start Modiani on the marble floor? Where's the only place you could prostrate yourself with a marble floor? You can't do anyone else. It's considered idolatry. It's only in the Holy Temple. Good morning. It's only in the Holy Temple that you're allowed to prostrate yourself on a marble floor. That is an act of submissiveness that is only appropriate in a certain setting. Otherwise, it's considered avodah zarah. There are the tzitzis. You have the makif, you have the cloak, the shawl, the prayer shawl, turquoise, immersion in, I feel, acceptance from God. You have that, but there's the tzitzis, there's the definition, the laser ray of devotion and command. I mean, it's a continuum. It's a continuum. That just takes me to distant places, that thought. To wake like a lion, so with that Madiani, with that ultimate act of submission, it's only appropriate in a single place in the universe, okay? You can't go to some distant galaxy or supercluster. You're not going to find it there. There's a very sharp target, a laser beam. That's the tzitzis. That is what draws down the makif. You want to elicit in God, as it were, this feeling of worthiness, like to see you as being worthy, or the appeal. Okay, we've given other names for that recently, this appeal, but maybe that's a better word. Okay, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Look up my yesterday's video and you'll know what I'm talking about. So the way to elicit that in God, the desire for God to do what He is, the mashpia, the desire for Him to do that. I'm not saying for selfish reasons, on the contrary. That's just like a byproduct of the marble floor, right? When you are in the Beis HaMikdash and you totally yishtachav el Hashem, bowing down to Hashem, Bahar HaKodesh. Yishtachav el Hashem, Bahar HaKodesh. It's one holy mountain. That's the place. That's the target. I actually do want to address the topic that I just said I didn't want to address. But I said I didn't want to say the word. But I might not be able to resist. Because I was thinking, what makes the Adam... My friend, okay, I met with him last night, and I said it wrong, maybe. It might be schmecksy. That might have been the way he said it. And I don't know if it was his coinage or not. I don't know this, like, underground schmecksy world. That's like the Yiddishism of smeksy, right? Like kids don't want to, I guess. So how do you do that? You have to be on the marble floor. Madiani lefanecha. That's how you rise like a lion. What is a lion? What's the wake of a lion? Have you ever been water skiing? I used to do 360, well, maybe not 360s. Yeah. On trick skis, not on slalom, like jumping off a ramp or anything, like nothing that crazy. But, but being in the wake of the boat, when the boat, I was on the ski clinic the last 2 years of summer camp one time. I was like 11. And the boat whipped me around so fast, I could not believe it. Like, what are they trying to do to me? Kill me? I was a little kid. And I was a tough kid, but I was a little kid. And they flung me around. And, when you take a spill out on the lake going that fast, it's like sliding across the sand. Okay? Very good for exfoliation, I suppose. So, that's fascinating, isn't that? Yeah. So the wake of a lion. What does it mean to be the wake of something? That's awesome. That motorboat, that source of power is so powerful that I'm terrified of it. But if you're the tail of the lion, what happens to the tail of a lion? I taught you yesterday. Someone type it before I have a chance to say. The tail is raised above its head. Eishes chayil ateres bailo. The malchus ein melech b'lei am. He needs the am to be a king. He crowns himself with his own tail. Good morning. He crowns himself with his own tail. Why? Because he puts another up. So I'm going to be darshaning on the word other, acher. I'm not going to do it the way Y.Y. Jacobson does it, who has amazing shurim on that word. Because there was someone called acher. Okay? Maybe we'll talk about acher another time, because it really should be researched. Okay, but it says, I think in the Zohar about him, mutav dili. No, maybe it's the Chachamim. I mean, in the Talmud, mutili daini v'la leisila alma de ase. It's better for him to be judged for, I think he got 180 years of Gehenna, of down there, in order to get the world to come, because it says that one moment of keras ruach, of like, exhilaration, ecstasy in the world to come, is equal to all the suffering of Gehenna. I think it says all. I don't remember exact the terms right now, but that's how powerful it is. So that's the consolation of God. You think that you're going to hold out, you won't. You know what? This is my next haiku. Okay, I haven't finished about the lion yet. Tithed fields to another grape, lips succumb. Remember, I keep telling you, and I learned this from my friend Rabbi Katzman. He taught me that, it's in Maimer Chazal, I should know it, right? But I don't know everything. I'm not going to kid you. But when I hear, I feel that's a gift from God, that God shared that with me. And if all I have to do is have time to think about it, and you could see the depth and beauty in it. So he taught me, just like you're supposed to know, that when it says that Hashem is going to pour blessings into the lips of the neshamas of the people in the final redemption, He's going to do it. He's going to give them blessings from His cup, pouring it into you until your lips will be parched or sore from saying enough already. That is in virtue of tithing, the midst of giving meiser, giving. Giving is an interesting, very complicated thing, because on the one hand you're giving, which is mashpia, but it's makabel to empty yourself by giving. So it has both aspects, and I can't think about that right now. I'm thinking about lions and grapes. So Rabbi Katzman also has the he's noted for being the one that drew attention to that my opinion might be wrong. He criticized my opinion about my idea of worthiness and being able to say enough already. I think that is the ultimate level. Rabbi Katzman was drawing attention to the tremendous, almost infinite suffering of the Jewish people throughout time, and that's like the Ben Melech. So that is a very, very holy thing. That outrage is coming from a very deep place. I'm sure that he's sincere, okay? And even if people have their own personal suffering, what's the difference? We're all connected. So in virtue of tithing your field, your lips are going to succumb to another grape that your beloved is going to press into your lips or pour in the form of wine. Wine that intoxicates. Wine that is, your love is better than wine. Okay, we got to look into Shir Shirin. Okay, I spoke about that before, actually. I don't know if I want to get into that right now. I think I spoke about wine enough, maybe. Maybe I'm Yahtzee. We'll come back to wine. So we got a lion that his tail represents lifting the other up. so to another grape. I'm this idea of the other. It's always about the other. And how could that be true here? What does God want from you? God wants from Rabbi Katzman and those who sympathize with all the suffering of the Jewish people. He wants to console them. He wants to be able to do that. We're going to be saying, die, enough already. Because what does it mean to give Meiser? You recognize that everything comes from Hashem. So you give. You're supposed to give a chaimesh, two tithes you're supposed to give. A chassid gives 2 tithes. Why? Because you want to give a fifth, 1 finger representing everything. Everything that you, like the hand always represents the you versus the other. So when you think about the other, how does that apply here? You're going to be eating grapes, Hashem's going to be pouring you with blessings, you're just taking it? How is that? Recognizing the other. And that's the way I'm using the word other. Usually it's like, means the dark forces or something like that. But where do the dark forces come from? From the tzimtzum. What's tzimtzum? It's the concealment in the cave of the whole, that's what it all comes together under. If you're going to put it under one heading, if you're going to divide everything in 2. The world's divided into 2 parts, right? Always. Because we have the power of our minds to do that. Okay, so I wanted to speak about MUSE, and I want to let that be our segue into prophecy, which is where I'm going these days. I have a few things on my mind in general. Mashiach is the main thing, obviously. And to me, this is my way of communicating Mashiach. I'll tell you a short story about my first Purim, I think, or second Purim in Toronto. When I came here, and I was coming from Crown Heights with this immersion in Mashiach. And I came here, and Rabbi Wagner has his own very pneumistic way of dealing with Mashiach. And I wasn't used to that. Okay, there's something to be said for both, and you have to have everything, right? You have to have all the milas. You have to be an Adam, shleimus and perfection, and completion, and everything. Okay, but I wasn't used to this emphasis that, whoa, like something in my hair. So he spoke for he gave an hour-long drush. And the end, he says, so that means we got to do Rambam. And that's great to do Rambam. But I'm used to and that's why we have to bring Mashiach. To me, it's all about bringing Mashiach. So to me, that approach, that very pneumistic, Kabbalah's all approach of just accepting the yoke of heaven and doing the things that don't necessarily resonate with us. I mean, I think that's a major influence today in Chabad. Amongst the Mashpiyim, they're trying to evoke in their students and their disciples, right? Because that's really what they are. This idea about being a soldier in the sense of being burdened with something and accepting it. They don't emphasize as much the acceptance with joy. Maybe the analogies that you have to use for that are more mature, so therefore maybe it reflects something about youths growing up, that this maturity, maybe even spiritually, they're sort of lacking they're lacking the maturity to use these tools. Because ultimately, I think it's about isparnesun mineh. You're supposed to get sustenance from the Torah. That's the secrets of the Torah is supposed to be your sustenance. Or even Torah in general itself, it's called lechem, bread. Okay, look what Yosef and how Paitafar describes is ki'im alechem ba'asher at ishtay. Except he's only deprived me his bread, being that you're his wife. That was Yosef's boundary. That to him was everything. That he'd claw through marble floors, right? I'm getting back to that marble floor with the walking in the wake of the lion. The wake of a lion. Who wouldn't follow that? Who wouldn't want? Okay, maybe people are terrified of the speed of the motorboat, so how can you go in its wake? It's terrifying, that kind of exhilaration. If people need more than halacha and Talmud, or if you're not, obviously through these things we could bring out such depth. Obviously, that's I don't mean to suggest it in any way. But I think we should be emphasizing them, a drashik, agadita, secrets of the Torah, things like that, way more than we do. Okay, we do a lot of that, and sometimes it's even too high. And that's to me why Kabbalah is important now. Because Kabbalah is imagery, and imagery is what we are totally bombarded with these days. And if you think that our children are not, you're dumb. And you shouldn't be making the decisions. Since they are exposed to this world. Since they are, like I understood that, I don't know if I should say that, maybe it's a Chilul Hashem. I'm not going to say it. Just there's a lot of attraction to spectacle and even being in public celebrations, which my father loves a parade. I don't like a parade. I get antsy. I don't want to sit there and watch. I like to do. But a spectacle, it's very important to be an Okay, you got to sometimes appreciate a spectacle. So I wanted to segue from MUSE to prophecy. And how are we going to get to MUSE? So my idea of how do you awaken the lion? What is the smaxi? Okay, I had to say there. How do you elicit in Hashem desire to lift you up and make him his tail, because you attach yourself with Vekas to God, that becomes his crown. So he defers to you. He says, do this for me. No, that would be the opposite. He says, I have to console you. So please accept another grape. And he happens to be very seductive. I mean, what is a Kadosh Baruch Hu lacking? If you were God, what would you deprive yourself? He has everything. So he has ways to seduce you to take another grape from his lips, I promise you. That's why you'll be saying die. Because God is a Kol Yachol. And if he says he's going to console us, all the suffering, okay? It goes on today. Okay, I went to a barbecue last night. There was a guy there that just recovered from Yana Machlo, the ineffable illness, Lo Aleinu. He just, remitted? He got better. And he was going to go to Israel to celebrate. Right? He's a religious man. He wanted to express his gratefulness to God for giving him another shot at life. Who could face such suffering and challenge? So he was telling us, and I like to be happy all the time. When people come up to me begging and things like that, I specifically don't allow he was telling me the opposite about him. He loves to open his heart to people. But when people come to me, I'm like, I just can't do it. You see when I talk about, I won't say it, bad times in Jewish history, I just break down, okay? So I become this very cold person, right? I tried doing it my way. I tried to give what I think is more precious than the $18 that I might wrench out of my pocket because I try to live a Jewish life. Try and pay tuition. That's almost impossible if you consider averages about how much money you make and all that. It's almost impossible to have a big family and pay tuition. So you always become a charity case unless you're a zillionaire. It's true. And this guy actually said that last night. He was very wise. He's a cynical person, but he faced a major challenge and overcame it. Like God blessed him with that. But he learned he didn't go to Israel yet because he got bad news about his mother, that she now has breast cancer, Lo Aleinu. And so now he's staying to be with her. This person comes across as very cynical, and I'd put him in my top 5 most cynical people that I know. But he's got such a good heart. The cynical people, the people who are outraged, have so much sensitivity. That's what Y.Y. Jacobson taught me. One of the things, he taught me so much. And I've seen him a few times now. I've seen him a number of times. So, God is begging for us for the opportunity to console us from our suffering. And he's begging you to take another grape. So he is seducing us because he cares about us. So our job, though, I think, is to simply submit. Okay? So in this case, we're submitting to yes. You want to pour out more blessings on me? I accept them. I want to get closer to you, and I'm going to make a vessel for that. That vessel to contain all those blessings that God wants to pour out on you, that's the Torah, that's the laser beam, that's the tzitzis. That's what it means to be the tail of the king, of the lion, the of the melech, right? To walk in the wake of the lion, to be his tail, that's what makes you the crown, the Eishes Chayil, the Teres Baila. Okay, I covered a lot of topics. Now I just want to jump into if we have any time, can someone please type the time in Eastern Standard Time? That would help me. I have to leave the screen. I don't know. I'm having fun anyways. So yesterday I started. Yeah, I think yesterday I started. Hi, good morning. Shalom, shalom. We started learning the 6th halacha of chapter 7 in the laws of the foundation of the Torah, which speaks about prophecy. Which I'm saying, since prophecy awaits every single person, why not at least yearn for that? And usually I shy away from halakha, to be honest. It's not my nature. But these halachas are so mystical that you don't need to learn the mysticism on it. Though I have some sources here in this book. This is an awesome sefer. They only made, I think, one volume of it, unfortunately. Why not have soul exploration when you have a sip of water? Why not when you say Asher Yotzar? You should not have soul exploration. Okay, one time a day, devote one time a day. Everything is connecting to God. One time a day. I call that davening, prayer. Okay, but it's to us in Chabad, it's a process. Prayer is not, I'm sitting here in a room for an hour. It starts up when you wake up in the morning, okay? And in the whole thing, we say brachas right away. We say Shema. We start the day. We learn Chassidus. We get inspired. That's what we do. You should do that too. And I don't care if you're even Lavdil not Jewish. If you're not Jewish, this is wisdom that will help anybody. And it's not like I'm making things up. Sometimes I might say something wise. It's possible, I suppose. But how do we expose ourselves to the real wisdom? That's the wisdom of prophecy. Okay? But it's more than that. It's a way of life, okay? In terms of discipline and in terms of joy, which are nice binaries, aren't they? Discipline and joy. He needs both. And we learned that in the previous halachas here. He has to be completely removed from the world, okay? I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to yearn for something that's sexy, okay? I had to say the real word for that because it is. That's the way we should understand that word apply to this. Why? Because this is the most direct, intimate connection to Hashem. Okay, I'm gonna try and use a code language here. I'm gonna say attractive too. It's just not, I want a bigger audience. I want children to be able to listen, like, I don't know, 12-year-old kids, why not? They have real problems that they face, real issues. The only way that they will be able to conquer those issues properly, why not try and strive for being a tzaddik? Why not? Why not? What's the harm in that? You'll sue me, okay? But the only way for a 14-year-old to have the ability to succeed in temptation, I think, is through mastery. You got to be that warrior, spiritual warrior, dude. You have to. Why? Because you have to be a passionate person. At 14, you're probably the most passionate you are in your whole life. Okay, but unless tzaddikim yelchu mechoil, they're going to go higher and higher. Okay, a tzaddik latches on to something that's much greater. The tzaddik, a high neshama that doesn't have to work on himself too much. He has to work on himself, but compared to other people, he doesn't have to do so much in order to unleash huge amounts of power. That comes from the fact of having a lofty soul, being a passionate person, and you should strive for this because there is such thing as Ibur Neshama. There is such a thing that Tanya says it's possible. Kula hai va'ulai. Maybe you're going to be worthy to be impregnated by a soul, a powerful soul from a higher world. It's a fluid process. It's not just your identity and that's it. Your identity is intact. Yes, for sure. Even in Tchiz Mason, as I spoke about it at length, that's intact. But you'll be hit with an energy that says, where in the world did I draw this energy from? That's Ibur Neshama. And you know what form, to whatever extent that idea resonates in my life, that form is okay, on my lips, he will kiss me with kisses of his mouth. Okay, it's easier for me to say that in English. That's the secrets of the Torah. The milk and honey under your tongue. The honey. the sweetness, whatever you are attracted to. Torah speaks about that too. God cares about you too. Find out the holy of that, and that becomes your focus. So if you're a Baal Taiva, Rabbi Wagner once called me publicly a Baal Taiva. You know why I said I'm a Baal Taiva? Why am I a person of lust? Because he says that I love to daven. He was saying that while I was davening, and there's like 100 of his students there, okay? And I couldn't, okay, so what am I doing hearing that? I find it very hard to daven when there's a geschmacka verbringen going on next to me. I don't want that geschmacka verbringen going on then. I don't want it. Give me a moment, another moment longer. Give me one more grape to eat from the fingers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Shekhinah. Give me that extra moment. And then tell me your fascinating ideas, because not everybody fascinates me. But go to a Rabbi Wagner for bringing, and you tell me. So, back to Nevuah, right? The muse. How are you going to get this Nevuah? How do you become the muse of God that He's going to pour out the soul, opening up your mind to beyond? It's more than just your mind. It's actually going out of your mind specifically. That's why the prophet is called a Meshuggah. He's beyond mind. Have you ever gone beyond mind? It says he becomes an ish acher. Okay, that's another, the word I still told you, the word acher does resonate here. He becomes a different person, we learned. 9:14, that's not too bad. Thank you. I just saw it now, it was probably 20 minutes ago. Still not too bad. I've been davening at crazy times lately. So all that we've said thus far, that's speaking about regular prophets. But Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, is different. Why Moses is different? Because he doesn't see in a vision by night or in ecstatic trance. He stands up awake and pours out words coming from God. He is that batal to God, that much bowing before God. He's called Avdi Moshe. My slave. He's bowing down to God. That's why he's also the king. Eved Melech. That's specifically where you have that, when you harness that passion of a tzaddik. The tzaddik is a lofty neshama. When you bring that into you, because you too are a tzaddik, and if it's a long journey, back there. So make it easier by having pizzas derech. That's like analogous to the pizzas derech, teleportation. A soul just being implanted in you and just propelling you forward. You just teleport it through life. Okay, I spoke about that a long time ago, actually. It was the opposite of a nervous breakdown. Look that one up. Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu is different. He doesn't even have to gesticulate and have a seizure. He's standing calm, speaking to his beloved, because he's totally in his hands and trusts everything. He has no terror in the sense that we would. He has obviously terror. Well, probably much more. I'm saying if we had Moshe Rabbeinu's experience, obviously we'd be terrified. We know that there's this level. Firstly, it's Allah, Rama brought here, but we see this by Hagar. Rashi brings down about Hagar. No, and Shimshon. Hagar and Shimshon. The Hagar was comfortable around angels, because she was with Abram and Sarah. And if you're in the presence of Abram and Sarah, wouldn't you have the ministering angels present too? If you're perfection on earth, don't you think that you just attracted, you elicited from Hashem, you're the muse? Isn't that the way towards it, to be that? So Hagar was familiar, she was in that environment. She was also a very powerful, important person too. But she was in that environment, and therefore she was comfortable around angels, and she didn't freak out and think she was going to die. Whereas Shimshon Hagibor, the mighty, his father, okay, from where he came, it's not him, but his father, whose name escapes me at the moment, he was terrified that they would die. His wife had to, be his advisor. Tell him, don't worry, you're not going to die. Would Hashem accept our sacrifice and all this? She says, and he says, okay, you're right. Again, he followed her, it says. He was called a fool for doing that, because he followed her. At least in terms of optics, Matronissa walks in the wake of the lion, okay? There is this yin-yang of Eishes Chayil Teres Baila, the tail of the lion. When you latch yourself on to the lion and are his tail, you're on the marble floor. So you are his precious stones. Literally, it says that there's an angel called, okay, I'm going to call it Sandal, even though it's slightly wrong. I don't know if you're allowed to say his name. It's close to his name. That takes our prayers, the physical, audible aspect of our prayers, and makes that aspect of our prayers into the crown of God. But here the idea is that the lion lifts his tail above his head. That's what it means to be the head of a lion. That's what a leader does. Not like the fox who puts his head down low and his tail's up. No. I don't know if it says his tail up. It says, it doesn't emphasize his tail. It says, don't be the head of a fox, be the tail of a lion. Associate with people that are going to uplift you. The fox only seeks subterfuge to bring you down, okay? That resonates at all levels. Let's stay a little bit of this and then we'll call it, what did I say yesterday? I don't like saying call it a day. Call it a moment. I don't know. So all the prophets, prophecy through an angel, right? We're just talking about angels. Therefore they say, they see what they see in allegory and visualization. It actually says, I think the Frierdiker Rebbe says, that the prophets, I think even Rambam says it, sorry, that the prophets use kayach hadimyan, maybe it's in this halacha, the power of imagination. And I spoke before how that means they imagine something that's true. What does that mean? That means that they see it. But it's through the same power as our imagining things that are false. But if the Torah tells you what is true, for example, reading Parsha and Yechezkel about the Chayas HaKadosh and the Merkava, the chariot of God, and the holy beasts, if you know that exists, you at least know what you're looking for. And that's the muse, because when God sees that you're looking for him, guess what he does? He's peering between the cracks already, waiting for that moment that we look out and see the sunshine pouring in through the cracks of exile. The darkness of exile is now illuminated. I'm going to speak to my servant Moshe, mouth to mouth. I don't know if it calls him a servant right there. He spoke to him face to face. It does say elsewhere. Okay, let's just read more. He can behold the form, the figure, tmuna, of God. It says God doesn't have a form. I don't know if it uses that exact term. Tmuna lay. I don't know. I think it uses the exact opposite term, so that has to be understood. Well, it doesn't have a form, but Hashem shows his form. So Rambam goes on. She'ein sham mashal. This is the way he interprets it. Okay? What does it mean? You cannot see God's face. We'll see. He talks about that God passed by him and showed him the back of his tefillin strap. And the Rebbe has an amazing sikh on it that I learned like 22 years ago, which I can't remember right now, but someone could, if they give me the source, I'd love to get that again, to learn that again. He sees things clearly. He doesn't see an allegory. Okay, what does that mean? I'm always talking about allegory and the beauty of that, and seeing your world as aspects of God. He doesn't even have that experience. His experience is this. But not that, he can contain it, okay? Like, go be around the Rebbe, okay? See what Moshe Rabbeinu experiences when he's davening and he looks like he's totally in control. I imagine that before davening because it's hard for me to relate to, and that's in total control. Remember, I said the Alter Rebbe was doing flips, smashing into things, literally. So Moshe sees without allegory. And this is why the Torah testifies about what I've been saying, that he shows to Moshe the Mara v'loi bechides as a direct vision. I added the word direct, and not with poetry. He sees directly. It's not a matter of communicating poetically or with language. Language is always about going to the acher. But this is a type of unity that's beyond. That's what I'm saying. So if you have moments of that, or if you want to yearn for that, what do you do with it when you get there? I say, give it back. Say, God, this too I want you to have. God's saying, I want you to have it, and you say, I want you to have it. That's what a relationship is. I spoke about that about 2 months ago, I think, or 3. 2 months ago, probably. I used to put subheadings so it's easier to see what I spoke about around that time. Okay, so Moshe sees in a vision, but not with a vision that is allegorical. So I don't know what that means. We said before, he sees Hashem's tmuna, he beholds. Maybe the word yabit. No, yabit means to stare at. What do you stare at? What intrigues you? What are you fascinated by? Moshe was fascinated by God, but your light is everything to me. That's my whole experience of light is you. That's the euphoria. There's a footnote on this one. Okay, here it actually translates the word for us in this commentary that I have, thank God. It says, he sees the words of prophecy clearly. That, I would say, is analogous to that's like Torah, I said. This is Nevuah. Torah, we said, is God's words verbatim. Maybe it's a kal v'chomer, how much more so? By prophecy. Torah is different in that it's expressed in a way that's perfect. Okay, so my suggestion was maybe the words of prophecy are so high that they cannot be written in words because it always means one word and another at the same time. That's what I'm saying. Prophecy is a multi-dimensional experience, and I'm basing on that. Okay, that's my proof. It's logical proof. So here we're saying that when it says that he sees vision, because you think all prophets see with vision, don't they? They see vision, they see allegory, they see visualizations. We talk about imagination, but he sees it clearly. And we say, Shiraya divrei hanevua al bayrov. I don't know if I could be medactic. He sees the words of prophecy clearly. It's still eluding me. Anyone want to type their idea about that? What does that mean? Al bayrov, barakachama, shining like the sun. The words shine. The words, it says, Shiraya divrei hanevua. The words of prophecy shine clearly. I think it means the full intent is communicated. In postmodern philosophy, we always spoke about the inability of language to ever communicate precise intent. It always carries its own construct, its own resounding levels of meaning that cannot ever capture fully, even though they do have this symphony of harmonies in it, and harmonics rather, because that's a very good analogy for this idea. Okay, I just got lost a bit. Let's get back into the words here. When you feel an idea, you just forgot that idea. I'm afraid when I go into the mikvah, I just had a haiku come to me. I say, if I go into this mikvah properly, I'm liable to forget that haiku that I just said in my head over. So I say, I don't care. I got to take a chance. I have to just shut up my mind. I'm just diving before God. And I've told you what that means to me in a different video. So here he sees it clearly. He doesn't see this image of Matronissa. He doesn't see that. He feels it. That's what I'm getting. In other words, when someone's communicating, I can't remember what I said before. When someone's communicating, you understand their entire intent with the words, that's an impossibility. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu has here. That's clearly seeing something. That means the intent is not concealed by the oisies, which the Sefer Yetzirah, the Kabbalah describes as stones. Here we're talking about a marble floor, right? Stones can shine, find gems. The crown of the king, right? Maybe that's a good place to end the morning video stream. So MUSE, how do we bring this out? What do we, because we're stopping in the middle of halacha. It's kind of weird, but whatever. Make a professional shiur and snip it all together one day, right? So how can, I want to just try and see if this unites. The idea of what I wanted to do is say, what is the MUSE? How do you elicit in God? How do you make God want to pour out on you another grape? Become the Ish Acher, the prophecy. You want to get another grape? You don't want it, but you're not doing it for yourself at that point. You're just doing it because you think that God would really be happy if you'll take it. Further consolation. Pour out more detoxicating power of wine and the joy associating with prophecy. So how do you have that MUSE? You have to have the joy. It's in the joy. God wants us to be joyous. He wants us to conquer and be victorious over him. That's God's innermost desire. So there is this incredible seduction happening both ways, and each one caring about the other one more. That's the secret of everything, okay? I learned that at a Sheva Brachas in the name of Yossi Schwartz, a good friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a million years, but he's still a good friend of mine, especially since I'm still living with his words. It was actually annoying, to be honest. It was annoying to hear this because it sounded so cheesy to me, but he's so right. Okay, so sometimes the most simple things are the most wise things, even if it seems corny already, how like obvious and cliche it is. But it's true. So what do? You have to find ways to speak around it. People know the truth already. Speak around it so they just are drawn in. That's the MUSE. Draw someone in. Draw the other in. The other to you is God. That is the only relationship you'll have. When you're having relationships with other people, that's an extension of that. Ultimately, you're expressing your devotion to God, how you treat people, the boundaries that you respect. The fence is made of roses. Look that one up. Okay, I always, and that's a YY Jacobson shiur again, okay? That's where I got that idea from. Blows your mind. Look that up, look up his shiur. That's homework. Take this seriously. Why not take an hour to do another workout and listen to another shiur? Okay? I'm for fun. Go to him for a shiur. Because look at this, I didn't even get through one halacha. Okay, have a great day, everyone. That was really awesome. The MUSE is whatever I said. Go back and maybe you'll type a summary. I'd really appreciate that, actually. If someone wanted to do that, to take out, I don't know, even subject headers, that would be really kind, I think. I'll just post it on at it. I'd really think that would be contributing to, if you think these ideas will help the world, be a part of it. Mashiach's unfolding, be a part of it. That means you do what you think is going to help bring that about. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I can give you general ideas. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Everyone has their own brand of wine that God's going to console him with, her with, till the end of time. It will never end. That I promise. You could take it up with me 50 million years from now. It will end because we won't identify as anything separate. We'd all be one, okay? Whatever that means. It means it's just ecstasy forevermore, okay? That sounds boring for you? It has that aspect built in. Infinity, because the only way that can be happening, the hedonic process is that you require a hedonic reset. You have to recharge your batteries. You cannot, it says in Talmud, Tainug tmidi eino tainug. I think those are the exact words. A constant pleasure is not pleasure. Only God is possible to attain. The hedonic goal is only possible, even mathematically, in God. So if God's not true, so the hedonists' holy grail. Ugh. That's where I spit. I'm sorry if that's offensive, but I don't say that. That's gross. We need another word. I can't say pot at the end of the rainbow. Can I say that? Would have to spit to that? I don't know. I don't spit it to insult the culture. I spit because it's not my culture. And I don't mix in with telling people what to do. It's just for me. I'm sorry if that's offensive. I just think you have to, this terrorist here that said, I saw this morning, I don't like reading this. It makes me very bitter. bothered, obviously. But they said, like, certain radical Muslims claim, and I hope they're wrong, I really do, that they can kill or whatever, horrible things, whatever. So yeah, you could be immoral in the name of God. Fantastic. Every single human being is supposed to arrive at the obvious moral ideal, or I don't know, code or tenet of not killing another person. That's just called an animal with real claws, not the animals the way they're meant to be, and they will be, as I spoke about other times. Okay, so have a great morning. Thank you so much for joining me and bringing out my ability to talk. If I'm in a room, I often go places, not often, very unfrequently, but recently in the summer particularly, in environments where I cannot be myself. Not because that they're very like that, what does that mean? They're the opposite. But that means I can't, because I have some aspirations that are in conflict with just the way people spend their time, and there's nothing wrong with the way that people spend their time. Nothing wrong with it at all. I'm not trying to say that. Just saying, I was always a bit aloof, especially as my thinking got more and more sort of involved. I said there's fewer and fewer people that even could hear this. So it was a good thing I was in a philosophy course, because there was a few people there that were really cared about ideas. But I was in a fraternity, and I just didn't see that. Every time I opened someone, they tried to use information against me. Like, it was so weird. It was a weird world, and these are my friends. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I hope every kind word, I hope I use that to give more and deeper ideas, and I hope it comes from a very holy place, a very pure place, which means not necessarily things that come for yourself. They come from you. It has to be your personality. But there's a purity, the laser beam I've been speaking about. That's the MUSE.